Good morning. Welcome to Daily Confetti with Carter and Keri on Unsafe Space. Today is Thursday, July 25th. And we've got a doozy of a topic. I don't know. I never know what to say in these openings. And today...
Please like and subscribe. Follow us on YouTube. We're trying to get to 1,000 so that we can be demonetized. So please help us be demonetized. That's our goal.
We actually don't have a doozy. No, we don't.
This is an obligatory topic.
Obligatory? Is that what you said?
Yeah, neither one of us really want to talk about this, but we feel like we have to, right?
Yes. Okay. Mueller. Can I just call him Mueller? Because I like that better.
If that makes this episode more exciting,
yeah,
you can call him whatever you would like.
Okay. So this is one of those things that here's why I don't want to talk about it, and I'm glad to hear. I'd like to hear why you don't want to, but it's not real news. For me, it's the epitome of fake news. It's not a real narrative. I feel like people who are paying attention to this narrative are watching the wrong movie, and you're just you're not in the real world at all, and you're part of the puppet show, and you're part of the manipulation of the masses to care about something that's not remotely important or relevant to our lives or to the future. And so I don't mind talking about it things once in a while, because it's like, well, all the people watching that puppet show and playing a part in it, sometimes I guess you need to try and relate to them, but it just
that doesn't sound elitist at all.
It doesn't sound elitist at all. It's not elitist. It's just you guys are watching the wrong movie, and it's not an important movie. Does that sound arrogant? I guess it is. It's just it's not the right movie. Anyway.
I don't think I could say it any better, though, Keri. So, I mean, it's a sideshow. It's a distraction. It's, we've got a time where we've got reports from experts that say Google threw 2.6 million votes towards Hillary Clinton in the 2016 election. And
at least 2.6. Up to
right, at least. Sorry, that was the bottom. That was the at least. And here we are bickering over a few Russian bots and whether or not the Russians gave Trump some information that made Hillary look bad because it was the truth about Hillary and some DNC emails. Like, it's just such a sideshow and ridiculous. To me, the whole thing, just stepping back, the amount of gall and shamelessness that you need to have in order to be able to say, well, I should have gotten elected, but people found out about what was happening, and that's the problem. People weren't supposed to find out about me. This is a problem. Like what the hell, Democrats? But we should talk about it. It's in the news. We'll get back to other more fun stuff tomorrow. But Keri, I have some clips viewed up. We're obviously we're not going to cover the whole thing. What, you didn't watch it yesterday, right? You didn't watch. I watched some.
No, I was trying to respond to some messages last night, and I can't get caught up with them. But somebody had messaged me, and all it said was, "Are you watching this shit show?" And I'm like, "No, which one? I don't know what you're talking about." And then I'm like, "Oh, Mueller." Yeah, that's what they meant. No, I'm not watching that. But I have some. Can I make some guesses?
Yeah. Why don't I make some guesses, and then I'll kind of give you my impression and play some clips.
Nothing important was revealed. It was more of the same. Nothing burger. He did not impress Democrats who were hoping that this would be, like they always continually, that this is somehow grounds for impeachment, and it was probably pretty boring.
Thanks for watching, everyone. We'll
Was that it?
Yes. Yes, that was it. That was it. I think the one thing that is different than what was expected by most people is Mueller was more boring and senile seeming than even I think than anyone expected. So he did a lot. So first of all, one thing he did a lot, which I understand kind of, was he was sticking to the report and letters he had already written previously, because presumably, and I can get into why I believe this, I don't think he wrote the report. I don't think he really understands what the hell's going on. Like, I think he's kind of like in charge, but someone else was doing the work because he was out to lunch. However, he did, even if he wasn't out to lunch, he would have adopted a similar strategy of saying like, well, I'm sticking by the wording in the report, blah, blah, blah. He doesn't want to, he's going to be conservative in the sense of not saying anything that's going to get him in trouble, right? But he also did a lot of kind of just visually and theatrically disturbing, like, can you repeat that? Oh, what? I can't find, like, just a lot of just bumbling, like literally, grandpa's we got to get him into a home kind of stuff going on. And
You're
so
making it sound like Mr. Bean.
I don't know, whatever. it was I don't do impressions. I don't even impress myself. Anyway, that was not a good look for the Democrats. And I hate that phrase, not a good look, but I'm just kind of visually and from the theatrics perspective, he did not do well for the Democrats. And I think a lot of people looked at that, especially if I were a younger person, I'm not young, I still feel this way. I look at that and I'm like, these are the buffoons in charge of us, these fucking ancient dinosaurs who can't like follow a conversation and have no idea what the hell they wrote and are like, I don't know. Like, these are the rulers that we're subject to. It's pretty ridiculous. So he did a lot of that kind of stuff. However, there's a few things. Let me give you the one piece of evidence that I think shows he didn't write the report and he actually has nothing going on upstairs. I know that sounds harsh, but let me show you it here. So, Keri, are you familiar with, you know what Fusion GPS is, right?
Yes.
Okay. You're one up on Mueller.
Are you joking?
No, I'm not. Here we go.
When discussing the June 2016 Trump Tower meeting, you referenced, quote, the firm that produced the Steele reporting, unquote. The name of that firm was Fusion GPS. Is that correct?
And you're on page 103?
103, that's correct, volume 2. When you talk about the firm that produced the Steele reporting, the name of the firm that produced that was Fusion GPS. Is that correct?
Well, I'm not familiar with that.
What?
Let me just help you. It was. It's not a trick question. Right? It was Fusion.
It's not a trick question. We'll stop it there because it's embarrassing.
Wow, that is embarrassing. Wow.
Yeah, right?
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it's kind of,
he doesn't know.
Comparison. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but unless, like you said, he doesn't know what he's talking about. But how could you, even if he didn't write the report, how could he not know? I didn't write the report. I know what Fusion GPS is.
I barely paid attention to this, and I know who Fusion GPS is. Yeah. It's someone, I forget who said this on Twitter, so I'm sorry that I'm not giving you credit, but someone said it's a little bit like it's a little like someone asking the Warren Commission about Oswald and having them go, Oswald, I heard the name. I don't know what's Oswald again? Like, hello. Yeah. So that was not good.
Okay, you're gonna show me some more clips, right? Because is he losing his memory or something?
I don't know, Keri, but that, to me, that's evidence that something is rotten in Denmark. That there's something wrong there. So anyway, I just want to make a few points. One of them, I'm not going to play the clip for this one because the clip is long and kind of boring. But actually, maybe I will play this other clip. I'll play the John Ratcliffe clip because that's not long and boring. That's a good clip. But I just want to set something up. So the Democrats have been latching on to this idea that Mueller didn't exonerate Trump, right? He wasn't exonerated, right? And Representative Radcliffe brings up a really, really important point. So Mueller's whole persona and what he's been trying to project, his whole shtick is, I'm by the book and I'm following the rules and I'm just going to, I'm nonpartisan and professional and that's why I'm brought in and I'm going to do all the things by the rules and that's why he's sticking to what was in the report and not speculating on things or being very careful with his language. Well, his task, he was tasked with making decisions about whether to prosecute or not prosecute, like recommendations. We should prosecute this person or not prosecute. That was what he was tasked with in investigating Russian collusion, right? So, and then his report was tasked with describing why he made those determinations and why he didn't make those. We didn't say this. We didn't, we declines to prosecute here for these reasons. We prosecuted here for these reasons. That's the purpose of the report. And as Representative Radcliffe will point out, volume 2 of the report is basically just Mueller talking about stuff that's neither one of those categories. It's like, well, here's some stuff that we uncovered. We're not explaining why we didn't prosecute or why we did. It's just some stuff. And Representative Radcliffe points out, and we'll play the clip, that's not the legal standard to which you were hired. Like, prosecutors are, like, if you had, for example, Keri, you get accused of murder, right? And I'm the prosecutor. And I go up and I say, we do some investigation and I can't, there's not enough evidence, right? So instead of actually saying, I'm going to charge Keri, let's say I'm the district attorney, I'm going to charge Keri, here's the list of evidence, we're sure she's guilty, we're going to take it to court. Instead of doing that, I say, well, I can't really make a determination about Keri, but here's a bunch of things that suck about Keri.
I saw that.
Like,
yeah, it was basic. It would be like going even further and saying, there's not enough evidence to convict her of murder, but she seemed like she might have been trying to get in the way of the investigation. Like, yes, into the things she didn't do.
That's a better analogy. So let me actually play this clip though, because I think Radcliffe does a great job. I don't even know who the guy is. I don't pay attention to politics too much, but he did a great job in this case of talking to Mueller about this. So let's go.
Now, your report, and today you said at all times the special counsel team operated under, was guided by, and followed Justice Department policies and principles. So,
just really quick. So he's pointing out, you've said you're always guided by these policies and principles. You've said this. This has been your shtick, right? Here we go.
Which DOJ policy or principle sets forth a legal standard that an investigated person is not exonerated if their innocence from criminal conduct is not conclusively determined?
Do you get that one, Keri? Did you follow that?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to make sure. So by what standard do you say you're following all these standards? What's the legal standard or the departmental guideline standard whereby someone is labeled not exonerated if you don't have enough evidence to accuse them?
Are you about to tell me that Mueller doesn't understand the question?
I'm not sure he understands the question, but yes, I'm about to tell you that. But here we go.
Can you repeat the last part of that question?
Keri got it.
And I haven't even had a full cup of coffee yet.
I know.
Policy or principle set forth a legal standard that an investigated person is not exonerated if their innocence from criminal conduct is not conclusively determined. Where does that language come from, Director? Where is the DOJ policy that says that? Let me make it easier.
Sorry, go ahead.
Can you give me an example other than Donald Trump where the Justice Department determined that an investigated person was not exonerated because their innocence was not conclusively determined?
I cannot, but this is a unique situation.
Well,
because you did, pause it for a second. Essentially, give me another example of when the Justice Department said, well, we couldn't prove a negative, so...
Right. When's an example of the Justice Department when they couldn't conclusively determine innocence, which is not the standard, right?
Right.
Include determination of innocence. That again, getting back to the analogy of you, Keri, it's like maybe a better analogy would even be like, well, we're not charging we're not charging Keri with a crime, but we didn't conclusively determine that she didn't murder.
Yes, it's proving
So she's
it's
not
asking.
exonerated.
It's asking to prove a negative. Can you imagine if our criminal trials were like that?
Right.
Well, we didn't present enough evidence to show that this person murdered, but we can't conclusively prove that they didn't murder.
Right. Right. And Mueller's like, well, this is a special case. Like, yes, we know. That's why. That's the standard, Mueller.
Is short. I've got 5 minutes. Let's just leave it at you can't find it, because I'll tell you why. It doesn't exist. The special counsel's job, nowhere does it say that you were to conclusively determine Donald Trump's innocence, or that the special counsel report should determine whether or not to exonerate him. It's not in any of the documents. It's not in your appointment order. It's not in the special counsel regulations. It's not in the OLC opinions. It's not in the Justice Manual, and it's not in the principles of federal prosecution. Nowhere do those words appear together, because respectfully, Director, it was not the special counsel's job to conclusively determine Donald Trump's innocence or to exonerate him, because the bedrock principle of our justice system is a presumption of innocence. It exists for everyone. Everyone is entitled to it, including sitting presidents. And because there is a presumption of innocence, prosecutors never, ever need to conclusively determine it. Now, Director, the special counsel applied this inverted burden of proof that I can't find, and you said doesn't exist anywhere in the department policies, and you used it to write a report. And the very first line of your report, says, and as you read this morning, it authorizes the special counsel to provide the Attorney General with a confidential report explaining the prosecution or declination decisions reached by the special counsel. That's the very first word of your report, right?
That's correct.
Here's the problem, Director. The special counsel didn't do that. On volume 1, you did. On volume 2, with respect to potential obstruction of justice, the special counsel made neither a prosecution decision or a declination decision. You made no decision. You told us this morning and in your report that you made no determination. So respectfully, Director, you didn't follow the special counsel regulations. It clearly says, write a confidential report about decisions reached. Nowhere in here does it say, write a report about decisions that weren't reached. You wrote 180 pages about decisions that weren't reached, about potential crimes that weren't charged or decided. And respectfully, by doing that, you managed to violate every principle and the most sacred of traditions about prosecutors not offering extra prosecutorial analysis about potential crimes that aren't charged. So Americans need to know this as they listen to the Democrats and socialists on the other side of the aisle, as they do dramatic readings from this report, that volume 2 of this report was not authorized under the law to be written. It was written to a legal standard that does not exist at the Justice Department.
Who is this smart drink of water? I notice he's a Texan.
You like this guy, huh?
I like this guy.
No beard, but you still like him.
Yeah.
Take note, Ted Cruz, you've got competition.
Yeah. I like his little dig there too about these empty-headed celebrities doing dramatic readings of this report. Yeah.
I mean, it's basically I don't have to keep playing. It's basically done. So
no, but he was great. What did Mueller have to say to any of that? Nothing.
No, nothing. The time ran out, and that was the end. But so there was a point, Keri, during which the Democrats, I think, thought they had a gotcha, and they were very excited about this. And it was one of their favorites. One of their favorites maybe had the gotcha, and it was Ted Lieu. Let's just listen to this gotcha.
Gosh. By the way, real quick, one of the dumbest people. I have to say he's one of the dumbest. And I'm not just trying to throw an ad hominem. This guy has never said anything that sounds, okay, let me back up. Maybe he's not dumb. He's never said anything that doesn't sound dumb.
Thank you for the clarification. He's not evil.
He's not evil.
Good ever. All right. Speaking of him, here he is. Let's hear the gotcha that had Democrats all worked up for part of the day.
And I'd like to ask you, the reason again that you did not indict Donald Trump is because of OLC opinion stating that you cannot indict a sitting president, correct?
That is correct.
The fact that
Okay, I won't play the whole thing because it's more Ted Lieu talking and he then pontificates. But so the Dems were like, yes, the reason he didn't prosecute is you can't indict a sitting president. It's the reason. It's the only reason. In fact, people even tweeted, it's the only reason. So the Dems were very excited, but unfortunately, after a break, Mueller confronted whoever it is that's holding his brain in a jar, and they wrote a little thing for him. Here it is.
Those elements. I want to add one correction to my testimony this morning. I want to go back to one thing that was said this morning by Mr. Lieu, who said, and I quote, "You didn't charge the president because of the OLC opinion." That is not the correct way to say it. As we say in the report, and as I said at the opening, we did not reach a determination as to whether the president committed a crime.
I want that trumpet sound like. Sorry.
Or the screaming girl. It's on our t-shirts.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what's going on. There are a few more clips, Keri, but I don't know how long we want to make this. I can play them if you want, but the big thing to me is a couple things. One, clearly there's some kind of weirdness with Mueller not knowing Fusion GPS. You can't chalk that up to like didn't have his coffee or just trying to play it conservative. Not knowing Fusion GPS is presumably you prep for it too. You reread your own report and you go in like something's wrong. That
makes me think, yeah, something's wrong with his health. Like that. Yeah. It's like a forgetting your child's name, or I don't know. It just seems like it's something wrong.
Yeah, Alzheimer's. So, yeah, but that said, there's another point that Jim Jordan talked about. I can play some of this if we want, but and a couple other people talked about this. Mueller was tasked not with investigating Trump. Remember, his task wasn't just investigate Trump. It was he's supposed to be investigating Russian interference into the election. Right? That was his the direction he was pointed. He went and he charged various people associated with Trump for obstruction of justice or lying to the FBI. Again, a lot of those are weak kind of charges because the FBI uses a lot of shitty entrapment techniques and stuff like that. So if you come in and they say, hey, where'd you eat lunch yesterday? And you're like, McDonald's. And then you realize, oh shit, it was Burger King. Like, you can get charged with obstruction of justice because you talked to the FBI, even if it's a statement not related to anything. So that was, I'm being a little bit hyperbolic. Those weren't the lies.
No,
but
I know what you're talking about. Where
right?
Like that guy who was that guy who they went through all of his emails for years, and they're like, did you ever email somebody about such and such? And he's like,
probably. Well, I think they did that to Michael Flynn.
And then they're like, what about this one? He's like, oh yeah, I did. But it was nothing important, but because you couldn't remember it at first, like, right. You remember one of 700,000 emails.
And by the way, what this creates is a culture in which people will not talk to the FBI. Like, based on this, if I were ever questioned by the FBI for anything, I think my answer would just be, I don't remember. Like, you can't convict me on I don't remember. So it's just you don't want to cooperate with your own law enforcement, even if you're not the one who's under investigation, because if they decide that you're a wrong thinker or on the wrong team, they're just going to use some mistake or something to get. Anyway, he went out and he got these, he went after people for low level things, lying, that kind of stuff. But these are people related to Trump. But when you rewind to the beginning of all this started, according to the FBI. Now, there's other theories about how it started, but according to the FBI, this all started with Joseph Mifsud, who it's not even clear who he actually is, but there's theories on who he is. But basically, a foreign operative of some kind who pushed this, hey, we've got some dirt on Hillary kind of thing, ended up going through George Papadopoulos and blah, blah, blah. And this is where all this started. Now, the Mueller report says Mifsud lied, right? It says he lied. No attempt to go after Mifsud. No attempt to figure out, like, how much was he lying? What was he lying? Was he not lying? What was true? What wasn't true? Where did the origins of this? If you're investigating Russian interference into the election, what you do, and investigating anything, you try and get to the origins of it. You work your way to the origins of it. Where did it start? Where did this come from? You don't just go after the guys selling dope on the street corner. You try and find who is the person growing the heroin or whatever it is. And actually, I'm against the war on drugs, but that's a separate issue. You're like, that's
what my immediate thought is. They're
what?
Not going to go after the origins because they know.
Right. That's the point. So, like, Mifsud, he's gone in and out of the country since the investigation. They're leaving him alone. But he, according to the FBI's narrative, is where a lot of this stuff started. And they don't say boo about Mifsud. They don't try and do anything. They don't try and question him. They do nothing with Mifsud. So,
because he was meant to set up the Trump campaign for collusion. Of course, they're not going to go after him and figure out the origins of why was he offering, this fake information that he didn't have.
But to me, that is a smoking gun with respect to the charade that the investigation is, right? If you're wondering whether or not the investigation is a charade, and I think it's an incompetent charade, but it's a charade, and that, to me, that's the smoking gun. It's like, well, why'd you stop there? What made you stop?
I don't have any information, by the way. This is just me connecting dots, but I mean, I think
no. And look, I'm not totally, I don't pay attention to all of this because, like we started the show with, this is a circus and it's a sideshow distraction. However, if you want to pay attention to this, I know Dan Bongino, I don't want to point people to other podcasts, but Dan Bongino does an excellent job of digging into all this. He had an understanding of what was going on well before any of this kind of stuff came out, and he knew who the key players were and what was going on, and has I think a really good analysis. He wrote a book called Spygate. I think he's got another one out now, but he wrote Spygate with Denise McAllister and someone else, I forget.
You put a link
if you care about the Sideshow,
link to him in the description.
I will. If you care about him, if you care about the Sideshow, he's a good guy to untangle it for you. But this is about as much as I can muster caring about the Sideshow. This is, yeah, all right. So we're ruled by a bunch of corrupt, incompetent people who are just trying to distract us and get elected and
it's just a
maintain
circus.
power. So there you go.
Da 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 da.
Yeah. I don't know, Keri, anything else to say?
No, that's it. Let's go out on the circus music.
You know what? I will say one more thing. If you're a Gen Zer, I want you to take a long look watch the whole testimony. If you're Gen Z, I know this is going to sound like homework. Watch the testimony. I want you to pay attention to Robert Mueller. That is your government. That's the establishment. That's the Democrats. That's the Republicans, largely. That's the establishment. It's Robert Mueller is a great example of that's the deep state right there. That incompetent buffoon who stopped investigating when it got too close to anyone he cared about. For whatever reason, maybe he wasn't even in charge. For all I know, the poor guy is a figurehead. They know he's senile, and there's people like, below him, people are like, yeah, we were appointing Robert Mueller, but you're really in charge. He's got the name, but, just give grandpa some crackers and stick him in the other room and you go do the work and He'll sign reports.
Speaking of grandpa, can you pull up a still frame of the video real quick? Do you still have it up?
Yeah,
I close it.
Here's one.
Who is that old grandfatherly cowboy looking gentleman behind his? Yeah.
I don't know. This dude over here is throwing some shade.
Yeah.
I don't know who this guy is. He looks
like an extra who walked in off the set of Tombstone.
I think he looks like he's forced to be there for some reason. He's just like, oh, fuck. We're probably showing our ignorance. All these are probably important people in the Mueller and probe that we don't know about. But yeah, I don't know. He also looks like a kind of a milder version of John Bolton. Which
I was going to say, he's got the Bolton mustache.
Yeah.
But he really looks like a grandfatherly shopkeeper from the late 1800s.
I can fix your watch. Yeah.
I would just be paying attention to him.
The future of our country. There it is.
These are leaders.
these are our leaders. They know better. So next time you question a law or any kind of anything, they can, put them in charge of your healthcare. Everything will be great. On that note, we'll see you maybe later for Deprogrammed, or we already saw you for Deprogrammed because I didn't get this out in time, which is very likely. And I hope you liked Deprogrammed. But anyway, like, subscribe, help Keri win the argument about how awesome the t-shirts are. So go to unsafespace.com and there's a shop there. Buy t-shirts, especially the ones that she is arguing for, which is to make Democrats liberal again. Those are the ones that will help Keri.
Look, that's for the people like me who are on the left, who who have criticisms of the Democratic Party, and I know there are a lot of you out there. So,
right. So show her some love. If you disagree that those are the shirts, buy a different shirt.
Oh, don't listen to Carter. Dear Google and YouTube overlords, we offer up this sacrificial text, this SJW Sacred Reading of Scum Manifesto by Valerie Solanas. We pick up where we left off, and we hope that this act of penance allows us to remain on your channel, on your platform. Number 3, power and control. Unmasterful in his personal relations with women, the male attains to general masterfulness by the manipulation of money and of everything and everybody controlled by money, in other words, of everything and everybody. Number 4, love substitute. Unable to give love or affection, the male gives money. It makes him feel motherly. The mother gives milk. He gives bread. He is the breadwinner. Number 5, provides the male with a goal. Incapable of enjoying the moment, the male needs something to look forward to, and money provides him with an eternal, never-ending goal. Just think what you could do with $80 trillion. Invest it, and in 3 years' time, you'd have $300 trillion. Number 6, provides the basis for the male's major opportunity to control and manipulate fatherhood. And now we move into the section on fatherhood and mental illness, fear, cowardice, timidity, humility, insecurity, passivity. Mother wants what's best for her kids. Daddy only wants what's best for daddy. That is a peace and quiet, pandering to his delusion of dignity, respect, a good reflection on himself, status, and the opportunity to control and manipulate, or if he's an enlightened father, to, quote, give guidance. His daughter, in addition, he wants sexually. He gives her hand in marriage. The other part is for him. Daddy, unlike mother, can never give in to his kids, as he must at all costs preserve his delusion of decisiveness, forcefulness, always rightness, and strength. Never getting one's way leads to a lack of self-confidence in one's ability to cope with the world and to a passive acceptance of the status quo. Mother loves her kids, although she sometimes gets angry, but anger blows over quickly, and even while it exists, doesn't preclude love and basic acceptance. Emotionally diseased daddy doesn't love his kids. He approves of them, if they're good, that is, if they're nice, respectful, obedient, subservient to his will, quiet, and not given to unseemly displays of temper that would be most upsetting to daddy's easily disturbed male nervous system. In other words, if they're passive vegetables. If they're not good, he doesn't get angry. Not if he's a modern, civilized father. The old-fashioned, ranting, raving brute is preferable, as he is so ridiculous he can be easily despised, but rather expresses disapproval, a state that, unlike anger, endures and precludes a basic acceptance, leaving the kid with a feeling of worthlessness and a lifelong obsession with being approved of. The result is fear of independent thought, as this leads to unconventional, disapproved of opinions and ways of life. This concludes our reading of the text assigned in many women's studies classes across the country, Scum Manifesto by Valerie Solanas.
Valerie Solanas would be alive today if Andy Warhol had just paid for some therapy.
for
her.
Remember early on when we started reading this, you jumped in, you said, tell me about your father, your relationship with your father.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clearly there's something wrong there, yes.